In this video, we'll learn how to make the pork ragu, famously served in Italy, with pappardelle. Let's follow along as an Italian grandma prepares this dish using wild boar, the meat traditionally used in the dish. For a list of ingredients, check out the video description.
Facciamo le pappardelle al cinghiale.
Step 1. Prepare the marinade. To make the marinade, we need 1 large carrot, cut into large pieces. 6 to 8 sage leaves, coarsely chopped. 1 stalk of celery, cut into large pieces. 4 to 5 bay leaves. 2 sprigs of fresh rosemary. A handful of fresh thyme. 5 cloves of garlic, halved. And 1 small onion, cut into large pieces. We'll also need 2 teaspoons of peppercorns, 2 teaspoons of whole dry juniper berries, and 1/2 teaspoon of cloves. Add to the herbs and spices about 1/4 of a bottle of red wine. Here we're using Chianti. We'll add more as needed to cover the meat.
E mettiamo la carne. Ecco qua.
And finally, the star of the show, 1 kilogram or 2.2 pounds of boneless meat. Here we're using wild boar, but you can also use pork, beef, or even a gamier meat such as bison or lamb. Give the ingredients a really good mix. Italian grandmas love to use their hands for this kind of job. Use a pair of powder-free gloves if you don't like to touch raw meat. Lulu says that we use a marinade for this pork ragu recipe, both to flavor the meat and to remove some of the gaminess. Wild boar can have an unpleasantly strong flavor if not prepared properly. The techniques that Lulu will show here to remove the gamy flavor can be applied to any gamy meat, such as lamb or bison. Once the ingredients are well mixed, add additional wine as needed to cover the meat. Here Lulu points out that it's important to use a wine that you'd be willing to drink when cooking. Cover and let the meat rest in the refrigerator for 12 to 24 hours to allow the flavors time to develop. And here's our pork again after 24 hours. Their job finished, remove all of the vegetables and wine in the marinade. Transfer the drained meat with all the vegetables from the marinade removed into a large skillet.
Non vengono più utilizzate.
Toss out the vegetables used in the marinade. Now it's time to remove any additional gamy flavor from our wild boar. Lulu explains to do this, we'll cook the wild boar over medium-high heat for about 15 minutes to extract more liquid from the meat. This liquid contains the remaining gamy flavor from the meat. By extracting this juice and removing it, we'll be able to create a pork ragu with a more delicate flavor.
Vedete l'acqua?
We're ready to drain our first pool of juice. Then we return the meat to the heat to see if there's any more juice to extract.
Vedete l'acqua?
After about 5 minutes, there's more liquid to drain. Continue like this until the meat no longer gives off juice. For us, this was about 15 to 20 minutes.
Vedete ancora? Adesso butto di nuovo quest'acqua.
Transfer the meat to another bowl because it's time to make the sofrito. Add enough olive oil to cover the bottom of your pan or skillet. To the olive oil, add 4 whole cloves of garlic. and chili pepper to taste. Since this chili pepper was freshly picked from Lulu's garden, she's just adding a few, because her peppers are really strong.
E basta.
Infuse the oil with the garlic and pepper over medium heat for 1 to 2 minutes. Remove the garlic and pepper, then add the wild boar or pork to the fragrant oil. Indeed, the smell of the wild boar is already amazing. Increase the heat slightly and toss the meat in the oil for about a minute.
Aspettiamo che si dori un pochino.
Then, add about 2 teaspoons of fine salt,
Abbiamo messo circa 1,5 kg di cinghiale.
black pepper to taste,
La carne ha preso molto, perché alcuni li mangeremo a spezzatino.
When the meat starts sticking to the bottom of the pan,
Del cinghiale e
it's time to add the ingredients for our pork ragu.
soffriggerlo bene.
Wild boar is already a very lean meat,
Appena di vino.
and we've already extracted a lot of juice to remove its strong flavor. So now we need a lot of liquid and a long cook time to make our pork ragu tender and delicious. Scissors are a favorite kitchen tool among Italian grandmas. Here Lulu is using a pair of scissors to chop the cinghiale, the wild boar, into smaller pieces. The traditional pork ragu with pappardelle features a combination of larger pieces of wild boar and tiny shredded pieces of meat. And we're ready for the wine. Lulu gives the wine a taste to confirm its quality. Ching ching!
Per assaggiare se va bene il vino del cinghiale.
You want to add the wine when the meat has taken on a darker color. Then add a half a cup of red wine. After the wine has evaporated, add a cup of water. Cover and reduce. And when that water is evaporated, add another cup of water. And reduce again.
La carne, vedete quanto è diventata? Si è ritirata quasi della metà.
When the water has been absorbed by the meat,
Io almeno un
add a tablespoon of tomato
bel
paste.
cucchiaio di concentrato.
Give it a quick stir. Then add 800 grams
Quello che è il pomodoro.
of whole tomatoes, crushed. Lulu has chosen to use whole tomatoes and crush them herself rather than using crushed tomatoes from a can, because she feels they have a better flavor. Always use canned tomatoes that say San Marzano. Muti is a reliable brand which can be found worldwide. This traditional pork ragu recipe calls for 3 types of tomato. Now we're adding 200 to 300 grams of tomato passato, or tomato sauce. And we'll be slow cooking the pork ragu for at least an hour and a half. Add to the sauce 1 whole small onion and 1 carrot chopped into large pieces, and 1 stalk of celery.
Bollire poi con calma, perché adesso per
And finally, another cup of water
poi dopo
and some salt for the tomatoes. And here Lulu adds 1 more chili pepper from her garden, just for good measure. Cover and simmer the pork ragu for at least an hour and a half. After an hour and a half, our pork ragu is looking and smelling delicious. Enjoy on polenta, or enjoy this pork ragu as the Italians do, on pappardelle. To make pork ragu with pappardelle, add enough pappardelle for 4 to 5 to a pot of boiling water. Use store-bought pappardelle or make your own from scratch using our recipe. If using fresh pappardelle, cook for 2.5 to 3 minutes. When the pappardelle is ready, drain and serve with the pork ragu. E buon appetito! Subscribe below for more recipes like this from Italy and beyond.